Thousands of firearms were confiscated at airport security checkpoints this year, according to the Transportation Security Administration. The vast majority of those weapons were loaded with ammunition. For more, let's bring in CBS News Homeland Security and Justice reporter Nicole Sganga. Hi there, Nicole. So nearly 5,700 firearms have been confiscated at airport security checkpoints so far this year. That's the highest number ever recorded by the TSA. Tell us more about what TSA found and what may be behind this spike.
Elaine, a whopping 5,674 guns were stopped by TSA in 2021, and that's just so far this calendar year. The vast majority of those weapons, 85%, were loaded with ammunition. This year's record of nearly 5,700 guns eclipsed 2019's previous record of approximately 4,400. And keep in mind, we're still in the midst of a pandemic, so not as many folks are traveling. That means that adjusted for passenger volumes, this year's rate is about double that of what we've seen in previous years pre-pandemic. TSA Administrator David Pekoski told me this week he thinks the record reflects an overall increase in the number of firearms carried by Americans nationwide. And Elaine, we have seen other stats that support this trend even amid the pandemic. Gun sales have surged, for instance, since April of 2020. The last 2 years have marked the greatest number of gun sales ever recorded, with a record 23 million in 2020 and more than 18 million so far in 2021. The latest FBI crime data released earlier this year also revealed that 2020 saw the greatest percentage of homicides involving guns.
Well, which airports, Nicole, have seen the most firearm stops this year, and what penalties do travelers face when TSA detects a gun on them?
Yeah, airports in Atlanta, Dallas, Fort Worth, and Houston ranked highest in terms of confiscated firearms. The encounters tend to take place more frequently in states with slightly looser gun laws, predominantly in the South and Southwest. TSA Administrator Pekoski also called this trend a costly mistake. That's because individuals toting loaded firearms could face anywhere from $3,000 to $10,000, plus a criminal referral to local law enforcement following an investigation by the agency, and that number ticks up to nearly $14,000 for repeat offenders. Elaine.
Well, let's talk more about the pandemic more broadly here. TSA screened nearly 21 million travelers during the Thanksgiving holiday, matching pre-pandemic travel levels. But the Omicron variant is causing concern right now. So how might this impact upcoming holiday travel? And what are TSA and industry leaders predicting here in the coming days?
Yeah, Elaine, it's interesting. As you mentioned, that travel during the 10-day Thanksgiving holiday period matched pre-pandemic levels. And so far, TSA, the agency, says it has not seen any indication, in passenger travel data or bookings of a drop due to the Omicron variant. Now, it could change, but right now, industry leaders as well saying that travelers are continuing to come back, heartened in part by the availability of vaccines and booster shots. So no indication so far of a slowdown in bookings.
Interesting. Well, what advice has the TSA issued to travelers venturing out to see family this holiday season?
Yeah, avoid busy days, Elaine, and times. Just as you wouldn't drive during rush hour, don't fly during popular travel times around the holidays, of course, if you can avoid it. The busiest travel days, TSA anticipates December 23rd and January 3rd. The busiest times, it says, are around 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. and 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. You might want to try heading to the airport in the middle of the day if you have that flexibility. Another recommendation, register for pre-check. You can schedule your appointment online. It's $85 for 5 years. TSA says about 95% of its pre-checked passengers waited less than 5 minutes for security screenings in November, and that processing applications can take as little as 5 days, so there's still time before Christmas. And in the interest of saving time, you can also do a few things online before heading to the airport, registering for parking, printing or uploading your boarding passes to your phones. That way, if you're carrying on bags, you can go straight to security. And of course, Elaine, there are also health recommendations right now. Social distancing, getting vaccinated, vaccinated, wearing a mask or N95. Earlier this month, TSA extended its federal mask mandate on airplanes, in trains, and in airports through March 18th. The administrator says it's very, very hard to predict when that mandate will end. So if you are heading to an airport, on an airplane, on a train, you want to have that mask with you and on you at all times.
All right, some good advice. Nicole Sganga. Nicole, thanks very much.
Thank you.